All right, so for the longest time now, I've been stuck on just this one review specifically. Like, I just for some reason always find myself coming back here, and so I'm just like, bro, I had recorded like over and over, like several times. Like, it's honestly just exhausting. Like, I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure if there is something I could really say, but I'm just gonna say my opinion. After finishing it all, it's not a bad show at all. Like, my original opinion was very harsh. It was very, very harsh because of like how I felt. Like, I was after I finished it, I was very angry. That they would kill off a character. There are some really pointless deaths in the show. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. But when I rewatched it, it didn't make me mad. I was just like, oh, you know what I mean? He's dead. And usually a death would result in something. Like, there was a dude who died in episode 2. And basically, it contributed to Himiko's trauma, basically. Like, that's kind of what that does there. And from that point, the show uses trauma as a very big concept throughout the show. Like, I think the best way to describe Btooom, the entire concept, is kind of like life. The entire show is basically like life. Everyone is sent on the island because they have done bad things previously in their lives. I mean, quote unquote bad things, because they're not really bad things. They're just things that people would assume that are bad. So they would be sent on the island to sort of, I don't know, act as a punishment, or basically because the people don't want them there anymore. So they send them off to the island, basically. This is what this is. And the people on the island have to basically fight in a survival game using BIMs, which are basically bombs. They have 8 different types in total. And I mean, it's pretty interesting. Like, it's the fact that the main protagonist, Sakamoto, has been playing the Btooom game in real life. He's transported to an island where the game is now real life. He sort of has his, like, gamer mode sometimes, where he's able to just instinctively do some really main character shit sometimes. It's kind of crazy, but I find it interesting. I even wrote a whole document. Like, I mean, there are interesting characters, like I said, like other than the main cast, but it's not crazy enough to where like it's really important talking about. Like, I think the 3 main characters I talk about would probably be Himiko, Taira, and Sakamoto. I could talk about Oda, but to me, Oda was just not really interesting. I think there was a girl named Shiki. I don't know. You guys can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but it was in one of the episodes where, it was in episode 8 where we're introduced to like a doctor named Date. Just all types of stuff happens from there. Okay, all types of stuff, and it's very interesting. I think the thing about the show is that it relies on flashbacks instead of normal storytelling. So when the characters in like a traumatic event, they would play a flashback and they'll show a situation that was similar to this situation, which is very interesting. And it just reminds me of life. You don't know where people come from. You don't really know their trauma. Like, every person has a different type of trauma, which is something that I see the show trying to push, which is a very interesting. It's a very interesting perspective. When I first watched it, it really, the show really made me mad. I'm not sure why, but it really pissed me off because there were a lot of things that I didn't understand. Like, the fact that, like, Himiko had her issue with guys and she was so mad. She was just so, like, aggressive towards any dude who was just trying to just be, nice to her. So that came on to me very, like, crazy. And I was just like, now that I just kind of came back to watch it, I was just kind of like, I mean, I could see why. But if I was the main character, I would dip. Me personally. You know what I mean? I wouldn't sit here just trying to be her friend, bro. I honestly can't tolerate this disrespect, man. If that was me. I like this show, man. If I would rewatch it, probably not, but it's not bad. Probably like a 6 out of 8. Like, I wouldn't give it a 7 because just a 7 is kind of just like, it's not really what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? And plus, like, if you think about the percentage, it's not really accurate for me. There are a lot of blind areas in Btooom, like I'm not sure of, and I feel like I've already rewatched it enough. I have re-recorded this like so many times. I had literally. I'm just tired. I'm ready to move on to another show. So, yeah, but I think it's overall a good show. I have no issues with it. I think a season 2 would be perfect. I'm really interested in seeing more of this perspective that the show has. I really like to see the life perspective that it has, where it is telling you, you know that you don't know where anyone comes from, and their trauma is different drastically from yours, and I think that is an interesting thing. And so yeah, I think it's interesting. So that's my take on this show. Not a bad show. It's all right, but yeah, I'm gonna go just take a break for a while. I'm gonna come back with a video though, so stay tuned for that.